There's something weird about sitting on the edge of my bed, and I can just sometimes, you have these like moments of clarity, moments of thinking things through. I don't know how to describe it. You look at things differently. So I'm going to just say what I'm going to say, and I'm just going to let you make up your own mind. If I had the false dichotomy between Christianity and paganism today, if everything that I'm doing now, obviously there's reasons today that I can't be a member of the Christian church, and it would be wrong for me to join it. But if I had a choice, and it was one or the other, do or die, that sort of thing, between Christianity and paganism, I would choose Christianity every single time. And I would choose it because of the structure of the organization means there's some checks and some balances in terms of who says what and how and why. Now, I admit Christianity is riddled with problems and strange ideas, and they've got their own weird revisionist histories going through them, and there's historical falsehoods and all that kind of stuff, and the attitude towards the LGBTQ plus community is appalling. And of course, the attitudes towards women is appalling as well, and there needs to be an awful lot of work done within Christianity to make it an awful lot better. And it is, but in some areas it's growing. In some areas it's not, and it's going back to a more sort of conservative ideology, which is in fact quite frightening, but never mind. I would still have chosen that above an organization which encourages such a twisted perspective of reality as you find within pagan circles. Now, I admit that within paganism, these are people who are in reality just trying to grow up. They're in a place where they need healing, and they're trying to get it as a result of whatever things they're doing and things they're thinking and things they're saying. But the things they're doing, thinking, and saying is a product of their psychological problems. It's not necessarily the truth. I mean, if you're talking about the subject of magic, or if you're talking about the subject of even prayer, these are very complicated disciplines. Alright? Magic itself, if it is true, and there's a true discipline, just to be able to understand the scraping of the tip of the iceberg, just to understand it, not to be able to use it, surely that is an entire lifelong's work. Right? And even then, you'll still have a twisted perspective of reality to a certain extent because you're a human animal. And you've therefore got a very limited perspective of how you can understand the whole of reality and the whole of the universe. And this is another reason why it's a complete fallacy for anyone to say that magic works. Because how can you have developed, by the age that you are now, and the quantity of time that you've spent being involved in this subject, sufficient knowledge of this vast topic, which, just to get an understanding of it and not to use it, it takes your entire life just to understand, like the scraping of the tip of the iceberg. If this is a wrong thing to say, it is unethical. Now, there is a genuine force out there, yes. There is, there's truth to mediumship, there's truth to spiritualism, there's truth to spiritual healing, there's truth to all of these things. But who on earth can have such mastery over even one of these disciplines to be able to extrapolate further and say magic works? How can you do that rationally and logically, taking into account that you're in a world full of stage 4 terminal cancer sufferers, all of whom are looking for a miracle right now? If you are a miracle worker, cure them. And if you don't, you're not telling the truth, are you? It's quite a simple equation. Alright? There's lots of complexity to this. Maybe you felt energy moving, okay? Maybe you had an experience which was related theologically to some variety of ancient deity or whatever, so what? All right, experiences like that happen to people all around the world. Okay? Okay, so you created some conditions whereby it could happen. You could have a spiritual experience. But what can you extrapolate from that? How far can you go rationally and logically? And I don't just mean sitting down with your teenage friends over a pint of beer and then just like fantasizing and fantasizing and fantasizing until such time as you've convinced yourself of something. We have questions. We have experiences. We have folk myths. We haven't got anything else to go on. Right? So, no matter how long you've been doing all this stuff, you're still in the dark. Alright? There will be like features to the whole force and the states of mind and all the other stuff which you won't know, and some things you won't be able to reach and achieve. Be honest with yourself. Alright? Just like when you were in the first year of secondary school and you're being shown the physics laboratory and you're being shown various things. Okay, well, they're just blocks. I know they're just blocks. What are they blocks of? Well, that one's wood and that one's aluminium and that one's steel. But what do they do? You can pick it up, you can touch it, you can experience it. Alright, so you just describe what you're experiencing. Okay, this one's warm to the touch, this one's cool to the touch, that one conducts, that one resists heat, whatever it is. Then you work out the properties of the physical things which is being put in front of you. So let's say you do have an experience with an angel or a ghost or a demon or a spirit or something along those lines. What do you do? Now, if you're stupid, you're going to use this as a justification for a theology and say, oh, this proves that Wicca is right. What? Wait, what? This proves that my particular discipline which I'm choosing to follow is right, and therefore I have all power over the whole universe. Is that true? You personally are so powerful that you command the winds and the waves. You personally control the solar radiation hitting the planet, which then makes thermals go up and then creates clouds of a certain type, which could create a thunderstorm. And you personally are the one who've rearranged all of these things because you're so powerful. You in your little bedroom with your little wand. It is rather laughable to think. Now, you can think to yourself that there is a connection between my consciousness and the elemental forces which will make rain hypothetically happen. And maybe there is, but to what extent? To what extent? And precisely how much force do you personally actually have in reality? Have you gone Mythbusters on this? Have you gone completely Mythbusters and repeated and repeated and repeated in different ways, in different conditions, to see what happens, to try and build up the precise understanding of the entire universe and how that operates within this particular discipline? No, you don't. No, you don't. You're a primitive little monkey prattling around in your bedroom with a wand, okay? That's as far as you've got. Now, it is true that when you cast a circle, the circle has a existence, it has a phenomena, there's something to it. Yeah, there is something about invocation whereby there does appear to be some variety of other energy which you seem to be having some variety of communication with, but you'll never understand it. And as far as saying, well, it's all your reality so you can command it, good God! Under what particular theory are you basing this? And why do you think that your theory is correct? If you're someone who in one breath speaks about an animistic universe, and in the other breath says, well, it's all your own reality and therefore it's only up to you, you yourself don't even know what you're thinking. Alright? Because the idea is of an animistic universe, and the idea is of you yourself as the individual who is creating energy around you and sending it out. These are two different things. Alright? So how the hell can you think that you can command an angel to do stuff? How? What is your theology at the moment about this stuff, and why do you have it? Are there ways in which you can improve your understanding? Of course there is. Naturally, there must be. Well, no matter what you're thinking at the moment, it has to be by its very nature wrong. Doesn't matter what you're thinking at the moment, because you're just an individual with only your life experiences to go by, and only your reading and only your research. Alright, that's essentially as far as you've got. There's got to be another level. Alright, it's like being a person who's studying C programming has done the Hello World program and suddenly thinks that they could write Guild Wars. It's a fantasy. Alright? It's incorrect thinking about a subject and then going out and telling other people that it works. In what way could you extrapolate to that level? What are you playing at here? And why have you gone so insane that you think that you're that powerful? Alright? I mean, this is insane, really, if you think about it. Alright? There's a genuine force out there. Okay, so there's a genuine force out there. So what? You don't understand it. You don't know how to use it properly. You can experiment with all these things. You can experiment with the fun toys. Alright? The Ouija board, the dot mirror scrying, and all this stuff. You can play with toys if you want. But are you studying it? Are you trying to work out what actually does what? And under what circumstances? And to what effects? Are you doing this? You may say you are. Okay, but if you're going to say magic works, then you're basically saying that you can cure that stage 4 terminal cancer person, because you're saying you work miracles and the results are specific, time-bound, measurable, reliable, and repeatable. But they're not. You know, do your healing work, do your earth healings, do this, that, and the other. By all means. There will be some pleasant experiences which will happen, and you might feel that, yes, you have interacted with something. But to what extent? In what way? To what effect? What is right with your understanding of the universe and what is wrong? How are you going to enhance it? How are you going to change the way in which you're looking at these things? What extra level of research are you going to do, and why are you doing it? And are you sure that that research is going to lead you in the direction that you want it to, and to take you to whatever your own end goals are? Have you chosen with great care what that type of research should actually be? And whether it is actually magical, or whether it is actually material? You know, there's many more questions which need to be asked about all of this stuff. So many, to the point whereby it is meaningless to turn around and say anything works. Anything. Alright? It's stupidity. It's rank stupidity. It's arrogance. And a variety of madness and sickness and separation from reality. It is there for a form of delusion. A form of psychosis. Alright? A separation from reality. And if you are going to say magic works, in what particular context? Are you using your ritualistic and spiritual experiences for the purpose of finding out what you are? Your true will? And surely that must be a different thing than doing a ritual to make it rain on a Tuesday afternoon so you can avoid games. Or PE class, or whatever it is you're doing. Put some intelligent thought into this. And especially thought which goes into how you express this and how you explain this. There's too much to learn for anyone to make a claim that they have the power. Too much. And there's too many stupid people who are perfectly prepared and think it is ethical and moral and appropriate and spiritual and religious to hurt desperate people through saying magic works. And this can only be because they enjoy it. And they enjoy seeing you go mad. Seeing you chase this thing to try and get something in your life that you've always wanted or needed and required, and going mad in the process. And becoming someone who society disrespects. I was there once. And I don't want anyone else to end up there. Ever. This harm cannot carry on. You cannot sell someone the earth and give them a handful of dirt.